Good to have you in the garage, guys. Today we have another piece of our Mordheim table on the workbench.
And the graveyard will fit right about there. On this tile we're going to cut, glue, paint, use basing materials and add plenty of grimy details. And we will also include a hangman's tree because, every Mordheim city needs one. We start, as always, with an MDF board with XPS foam on top. The tile nearby is just to make sure we get everything lined up properly. We want this tile to match the measurement of the rest of the tiles, right? Before we get too carried away with the building, I'll need your help. Once we're done with the graveyard, there will only be 2 tiles left, and they will be risers. Then the board will be complete. But I'm going to make a 10th tile as well. I've put a poll in the community section, so please help me choose what the last tile should be. After we get it leveled, we can do our first dry fit. And I will go with something like this. As usual, I'll be using a lot of 3D printed parts, and I'll put links to them in the description below. Even though I have risers and different levels on this board, it still feels a bit stiff. I'm hoping this small hill with stone at one end and plenty of basing material will help break up some of those straight lines. To keep the weight down, I'll try to make most of the hill's overall shape from XPS foam. These tiles weigh in around 3 to 4 kilos when they're done, so yeah. I'll use heat to shape the parts that need to be shaped. So this is for the path up to the small chapel. I want that to be jutting out of the ground. So let's see if we can make that effect. Off camera, I'm using compressed air to cool the parts. I had some old wall plaster lying around at home, so I'll be using that to smooth out the hill. The first layer is dried, but the path had come loose, so I had to glue that back in place before putting down the next layer of plaster. One important thing for me when planning and building these tiles is that playability comes before all-out beauty. I'm trying to find the best balance between the two. Next thing is to glue everything down into the desired places. For the second layer, I'm trying to make the transition between the ground and the terrain as seamless as possible. At this point, the tile is really starting to take shape. We'll still be adding gravestones and plenty of more details, but I'd love to hear from you. What would your perfect graveyard look like? Is there anything you would have done differently? With all glued down, we just need to seal this before we spray paint it, so we will use some Mod Podge for that. At this point, I'm quite content with the amount of terrain on the tile, but something was missing. I had some thin printed stone paving, so I cut those out and I'm trying to create a kind of withered, worn out path. Let's see if we can pull that off. Finally we can start painting. I'll begin with 2 layers of grey on everything, except the hill, which I later paint brown as a base. I'm not sure that this stage was really necessary. When we come to the basing material, it's really thick, so I don't think you actually need to paint the ground brown. Once that's done, we can move on to the details. For the wood and timber parts, I use brown oil wash. I keep it fairly thin, so the layers underneath are still visible, giving the wood a more believable look. Using the same wash helps tie the ground into the scenery. We want this to look old, worn and dirty. I'll finish by applying the same wash to the stone, using the same method across all the stone ground so it fits in with the other tiles. While we wait for that to dry, we can apply some Citadel contrast paint to our hanging tree. I'm using Skeleton Horde. The idea is to replicate the look of an old dead tree. I really like these effects, it fits the setting perfectly. I just slap 1 layer of contrast paint, but if you want heavier effect, you can just simply keep adding more layers. Next, oil wash. This is an easy way to add some variations to the building without spending a lot of time on the details. This is a greyish tone, but it dries pretty bluish, so yeah, let's see how it goes. And for the record, I'm using the same oil wash on the ground. Before we put down the basing material, we glue down a few of the last parts, some dead trees, and of course, this isn't just some random chapel, this is a Cult of Sigma chapel, so we need to add some twin-tailed comet symbols also. For the basing material, I want to go pretty dark. I have these 2 that I'll be using together. This is the first time I've tried this combination over such a large area, so yeah, wish me luck. I'll do it all at the same time, but I'll divide the area into sections as I go. The ground looks good so far. but the individual stones don't quite look like they're buried in the ground. So I'll add one more layer of basic material around them to try to get them to blend in better. I almost made a huge mistake when mixing a bottle of PVA glue to fix the basic material. Fortunately, I decided to test it on a small section first, off camera, and the result was complete disaster. Everything went dark. I went on YouTube and found a video showing the correct mix, which I'll link in the description. That worked really well, no color change at all. Final stretch now, just a few small details to add, including some moss color. I also found a coffin on Thingiverse. Why is it locked with chains? Did someone dig it up, or is someone trying to bury it in the most common place? A hanging tree needs hangers, right? I made the figures in Titancraft and just slapped on some colors and nuln oil. For the rope, I used regular nylon household string and color it with brown wash. The rest is just super glue. And here we are, the finished graveyard tile. I'm really happy with how this turned out. The different level, the worn path, all the basic material, and of course the hanging tree really helps break up those straight lines and give the tile and the board a lot more character. And it should still work well on the table, which is always the most important thing for me. That leaves us with just 2 tiles to finish the main board. And don't forget about the 10th tile. I've put a poll in the community section, so go and have your say on what we should build next. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you want to follow along with the rest of the Mordheim table. Thanks for joining me in the garage, and I'll see you in the next one.